Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have been living at my home now for about 4 or 5 months now, and honestly that has gone so quick. Like, the time has flown by, even though I spent majority of the time here because of quarantine, but I'm not complaining. I'm glad I got my own space and I wasn't doing it at home, let's just say that. So I wanted to share with you the tips, I guess, or learning curves, whatever it is, that I have learned in the process of moving out, and especially like moving out by yourself. So like what you should do before you've even moved, during, and while here. So that's kind of the tips that I'm surrounding. I've even got them on my little phone because I didn't want to miss out, and every time I thought of like, oh yeah, that's actually handy to know, I wrote it down. It is also boiling in this room, so I apologise if I look like a sweaty mess. I think it's like 27 degrees out and I can't open up any windows because I live on a noisy road and I'm literally dying right now. You know, it goes without saying, I'm no expert. This is obviously the first time I've moved out. Okay, so the first tip, and honestly I think this is probably the most useful tip I'm going to give you at this whole video, and I'm glad I done it and I didn't learn the hard way. So save each month whatever your bills, rent and everything will be. Obviously you'll have a rough idea of what you think you can spend, that you can sacrifice each month of your wage. Go with that rough idea, look at the areas that you want to live in, look at what the kind of properties that you can get for your budget. And then if you go on Zoopla, I believe, at the bottom of their, on like a property's description, they usually have like an estimate of what your monthly spending will be. So that usually includes the rent, the bills, water, gas, electric, energy, something like that. I think it's classed as energy. Sometimes it will have the council tax in there. Now remember, if you're moving out by yourself like me, you do get a, I believe it's 20%, 25% discount on your council tax, so knock a few quid off. If you see a property that you like, each month save whatever that little bit that Zoopla tells you into your savings account, and do this for a good few months. Don't just do it for 1 month, do it for a good like 3 months minimum, okay? And at least that way then you will know if you can live like that. Bearing in mind you will obviously have other bills to go on top of that. So the bills that I pay each month that is related to the house is obviously my rent, my gas, my electric, my water, my council tax, my Wi-Fi and Netflix, because I don't actually pay for TV license because I don't have an aerial, I literally just use Netflix. So save that amount each month, and at least that way you will be able to tell if you can live like that. You have got now savings, which you're going to need for a deposit, you're going to need it for buying furniture, stuff like that, and it's also good to have a backup. Also, you will be used to living like that instead of like moving and then never experiencing it and then being like, oh shit, I've only got 100 quid left in my name for the month, I can't live like this. And now you're stuck in a 12-month minimum contract and you're behind in your bills, you now have to get credit cards, you're in your overdraft, you got bailiffs knocking your door. You don't want that, do you? But also remember, in that amount you'll also have to pay for food, take in consideration petrol if you move further out or travel for work, anything and that kind of thing. Remember to take that in consideration. And at least that way you've done it for a few months, and if you think like, actually, you know what, I'm really scraping, is it scraping the barrel, is that the saying? I can't live like this. And at least then you know to maybe, say you were looking at properties for £900 a month, look for 800, 750, because at least now you know before actually signing a contract, and then test with the 800. And then if you can live like that, you've got a bit of money spare, because you are going to want to have a bit of money spare, because you do, you still want to live, you still want to go to the cinema, to the pub, you know, buy some clothes. Don't just live with the minimum, honestly, because it's not worth it. And if you can stay at home as long as you can to save, trust me, do it. Don't just jump into it unless you have to for personal reasons or whatever. Also, take a look at your spendings. Is there anything, like any subscriptions that you have that honestly you don't really need, or you know, you forgot you're even paying for it? Get rid of it. Literally every little penny counts when you move out, trust me. I even changed my phone contract. Okay, it was like £10 cheaper. That £10, believe it or not, some months is literally my electric for the month. It might seem like, oh, it's only £10, it's only £5. There you go, that's my electric for the month. Or because I've saved £10 and I've actually got a better deal. If you're going to take anything from this video, please do that, because you do not want to put yourself into a financial position where you are struggling. And honestly don't, because I'm in debt. and I wish I wasn't. It's not because of moving out, that's just from past of me being stupid. Honestly, and it might mean that you have to delay a bit when you're moving, but at least you got savings. It's not like the money's going somewhere, like, you know, on other things. You're saving for that property. So my second tip is check out the area at day and night. So you found your place now, you know how much you can spend each month, you kind of looked around, and you know, you found a few properties that you like. Go to that property at day and night, especially if you're going into an area that you don't know, like me. I moved into a complete different area. Don't get me wrong, I knew I had been to this place. I used to go to this area once a year with my family, so I do kind of know it, but you know, it's not my hometown. Obviously a place can look great in the day, you know, the sun's shining, everyone's happy, but check at night. Especially with me, I obviously living alone, young woman, I wanted to be in a place where it was lit up at night, especially in the winter times when I knew when I'm coming back from work it would be dark, and I didn't want to be walking to my home passing dark alleyways, having to go through a park with no light, anything like that. I wanted to make sure it was lit and that there was enough parking or close enough parking to my home so that I didn't have to travel too far in an area I don't know. Also, you don't want to then move and then, you know, you find out that during the weekdays it's all fine, but then on the weekends the pub down the road is open till 2 AM and then you've got the locals screaming and shouting, fights, and you can hear it all from your bedroom window while you're trying to sleep. Obviously that will be harder to test out. Maybe go and see the nightlife. Also, apart from like checking it at day and night, also check your routes. And what I mean by that is, if you're like me who had to move out further than what you usually do, check the journey during rush hour. How long is it going to take you to get into work? I'm lucky in the sense that it's literally just one straight road to get to my work. During rush hour, it takes about an hour, sometimes even more. But luckily I have to leave maybe 7:30. You know, some days I can leave at 8. But 7:30 is like usually the latest I can leave to be in on time. That time's okay for me. But you know, you don't want to be moving somewhere where you have to be up at like 3 AM and have to leave at like 4 just to get in. To me, that would be very stressful. I know some people find like being stuck in traffic really like agitating and stress. Doesn't bother me. I literally just put on my music and I'm just chilling. That doesn't anger me. But if you're someone like that, you might want to take that into consideration when you're moving somewhere. But definitely check out the route, test it out if you're able to. However, I still get it wrong though, because I actually live on a main road which is busy 24/7. I'm near a police station as well, so there's always some sort of car chase going around and I'm like, what's going on? I mean, you do adapt, and I have like numbed the noise out now. It doesn't bother me. It's same like if you live near a train station, they say that you kind of like just get used to the trains going past, but you can still get it wrong. I did. Now this one is definitely a personal preference. I wanted to make sure, it was one of the questions I asked when I went to viewings for the properties, was, is the property managed by the agent or the landlord? Obviously this depends on the agent. You can have it like, you can have property managed by the agents and they're actually terrible, but I personally wanted to make sure that it was managed by the agent, only because obviously they have an out and office line that you can call. They obviously deal with all the mess I just put in the complaint really, and I'm definitely glad that I did pick that option, because since being here there has been a few times when I've had to call up property management. Example, my key snapped in the lock. It was about 9-10 PM. Okay, it's not significantly late, but I wouldn't feel comfortable calling my landlord at that time. Imagine if that happened after a night out at 2 AM. I wouldn't feel comfortable calling them and maybe not even waking them up. Like, I don't know what their age are. They could be young, they could be really old, I don't know. I'd feel uncomfortable personally calling at that time if I had an issue, but obviously with an out of office line, that's their job. They're there for that time. So they are very, very helpful. And I'm very glad that I have that, because I just feel like I wouldn't feel comfortable speaking directly to the landlord. Let them deal with it. So that's just a personal preference from what I've definitely experienced. So my other tip, and I know this is obviously due to your circumstances, if you're able to do this, but it is to have savings. Not just the savings that you are putting onto your deposit for your property. I mean actual savings that you don't touch, and it's literally for emergencies, because you never know what would happen. Especially example for like this. Okay, we've been in pandemic. Who knew that this was going to happen? Who knew we were going to go into total lockdown and quite a few people weren't able to go to work or some was made redundant. You're self-employed, like you never know what might happen around the corner, and it's always nice to have that backup. Also, example for me, I had to move out further than I wanted to. I can't get any public transport to my work. I have to drive. Let's just say, example, I have, you know, £100 left after all my bills to myself each month, and my car breaks down and the garage said it's going to cost £300 to fix. I have no savings, so that means that's 3 months I have to save without a car, and I haven't got enough to even get trains because I have to save. You see the dilemma now? What, my work's going to let me be off for 3 months? Of course not. You see the issue? It's always good just to have that backup. Like I said, obviously I know it's down to your circumstances if you're not able to save that or whatever, but if you can, I would highly recommend having it. Okay, so you found your property that you like now, the contract is signed and you're moving in, but it's unfurnished. You've lived at your parents' house, all you own is a wardrobe, chest of drawers, your bed and a TV. You need to buy legit everything, but that is my tip. Don't buy everything all at once. I was exactly that person. I wanted to buy everything and go into a fully furnished home straight away. But like my parents and every adult who has, you know, experienced the whole moving out thing a lot more than I have, all said, don't buy everything all at once. Just get your essentials that you need. That is the fun part of having a home, is slowly adding to it. And everyone has always said to me, a home is never really finished. Like, I know people that have lived in their homes for 10 years and are still adding to it. So what I did was I wrote down all the rooms that was in my property, and then I wrote what would be classed as the necessity for that room. You know, in the kitchen, you need a washing machine, you need a fridge freezer, a microwave, a kettle, pots and pans, yeah, basic stuff. Not all the fancy stuff. You literally just need like one pot, one pan, stuff like that. My house has pretty much got the basics now in it. So what I'm doing is kind of buying room by room. So that's how I'm decorating it. Like, I know it's nice to have the little bits and bobs that make it feel like a home, you know, the artwork, the candles, the flowers, all the little accessories. But that's the fun part. Like I said, it's nice to then go into your shops and buy, oh, you know what, this would look nice here. Like, you don't want to be spending so much money on everything. Like, and that's like such a key point I have to say. And I know people really don't like talking about money and all that, but at the end of the day, it rules the fucking world. You do not want to be struggling as much as you can, you know, help it. And if that means you have to wait another month for the next payday to then buy some cushions to go on the sofa, I'm reaching here, but you get the gist of what I mean. And my last tip is, and I don't really know how to word this, but it's like, get used to being alone, but I'm kind of wording that incorrectly. But what I mean by that is, obviously I've moved out by myself. I was very much a homely person, so I did a lot of things with my family. And then when you move out alone, you're like, oh, you know, usually people have like a roommate, a partner. It can be quite a shock, but you do get used to it. And that's what I will say, you do very quickly adapt. I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that my main worry was my friends wouldn't come see me. As sad that is, because I am now out of the area. I am a little bit further away. I'm not that far away. It takes me about 15 minutes to get to like where I used to live. I'm not that far out. I mean, that's without traffic. With traffic, it takes me about an hour. And I've been very lucky that my friends have all pretty much every weekend, well, prior? Before lockdown anyway, they would always come round. And you actually find that you kind of get a bit annoyed with it. It sounds silly, but you know, not annoyed, but you're kind of like, oh, you know what, I actually would kind of want everyone to go away now because I could really do with some housework to do, or I just want some alone time. But you do very quickly adapt that. I know a lot of people were worried about me moving out alone, and I was myself, because I never really liked myself. I never really liked my own company, and I never had really experienced being alone. And I will admit that was a very big worry, because everyone said, oh, how is it, how are you finding it? And then I realised, like, well, actually, if you think about it, I'm up at like 6, leaving the house at 7 to get into work, and then by the time I get home from work it's 7 PM, cooking dinner, chilling out a bit, and then I'm in bed by 10, half 10. So really I'm not that alone. I'm only really alone for a few hours. I would say that the hardest part was, not the hardest, but the scariest part was at night was very scary, especially at the start of the year when we had a lot of those storms. And like I said, I live like on the top of a hill. It's very windy. It's an old house. I can hear every creak and cranny. I don't know if that's actually the saying, but I can hear every noise. And then I'll be like laying in bed like, okay, is that somebody trying to break in, or was that just a tree? Is that the window, or is that a poltergeist? And I would legit just be laying there like panicking. I mean, there was no break-in. It was just the tree. But honestly, you will start to like enjoy the company, your own company. After a long day at work, it's just so nice to get in, have my dinner, just sit on the sofa and just no noise and just chill. And it's so weird. I get, maybe that's just me getting old, but you do really start to enjoy it. I think I've covered everything from what I've learned. I hope this has been helpful, but that's all the stuff that I've learned. Like I said, I'm no expert, but they're the most helpfulest things I can think of. But if you have any other tips that I haven't already shared to share with anyone else, put them in the comments down below. Or if you've got any more tips for me in general, now that I'm living here, please do let me know. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and I shall see you next time. Bye!